Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be diving into everything you need to know about domestic and international shipping for your business and some tips and tricks on how to save money when starting out. My name is Yanis and I've been running a small embroidery business for the last 3.5 years. I would say when I first started, I spent the most time researching on how to ship parcels. We sell embroidered products and we are a Canadian company. We started with domestic and US shipping and then expanded to countries like the UK and Australia. Keep in mind, international shipping costs a lot more. For example, shipping within Canada might cost us around $6 to $18 per parcel, while international shipping can range anywhere from $17 all the way up to $50, depending on the weight and the size. First things first, you want to figure out where you're going to ship. Do you want to ship domestically or internationally or both? Once you figure that out, you can do a lot of research depending on where you're shipping to. For example, if you're shipping internationally, you have to make sure you are aware of all the custom regulations of the country that you're shipping to. Another question you need to ask yourself is if you want to offer fully tracked shipping or untracked shipments. For us, since we ship larger items like clothing and it has a higher value, we like to offer fully tracked mail, just because the customer is aware on when they can expect the parcel to arrive. With untracked mail, you're not able to see whether or not the customer actually received the item or not, which can be very daunting and scary when you're first starting out. But for smaller shipments like stickers, a lot of businesses will use untracked mail since it's a lot cheaper and more efficient to use. And the most daunting part for us was to figure out what shipping companies we wanted to use. Canada has very expensive shipping, so we only have a few options. When we first started, we used Canada Post and then later looked for different alternatives for cheaper rates like Stallion Express and also Chit Chats. The prices range very drastically from using Canada Post versus Stallion Express. For example, shipping to the UK cost around $30 with Canada Post, but it only costs around $12 to $18 when I use Stallion Express. We have very limited options in Canada, but in the States, I know that there are a lot of options like Shippo, ShipStation, and also Pirate Ship that all offer cheaper shipping rates. It's good to be aware of these other shipping companies just because you can compare your rates with your national courier to see if you're getting a better deal. So it's really important for you to do your research before you ship, because when we first started, we just brought parcels into Canada Post without a registered small business account, and we were charged hefty fees to ship just within BC where we live. Now let's go over how we pack, purchase labels, and ship our orders. We use a variety of supplies including polymailers of different sizes and thank you cards that we print ourselves. I'll talk about how we do this later and what materials we use. We have multiple sizes of polymailers because sizes of our orders vary. So if we have 2 sweatshirts, we use a bigger mailer, and it also depends on the sizing of our garments. For 3 or more crew necks and hoodies, we usually use cardboard boxes to pack them. One tip I have is to visit your local grocery store to see if they're giving out any plain cardboard boxes. This is a great way to be eco-friendly and also save up money. We also have a scale to measure the weight of the parcel. You can purchase these scales off Amazon, and sometimes you might have it in your homes already, as we use a food scale, which also works. Now I'll go through a process of how purchasing a label usually looks like. This is what you will usually see on your shipping software. You would put in the description, the unit value, and sometimes if you have integrated it with Shopify, your order number will show up. For most platforms, you can choose the different packaging that you used and also put in the dimensions as well as the weight. Because our Shopify is integrated with our shipping platform, our weight is already there, but we like to double check with the scale just in case there's any discrepancies. There are a bunch of couriers that you can choose from, and you just pick the one that's most suitable for you and then pay for the postage. After that whole process, you just print out your label through either printer or thermal label printer and stick it on your parcel. Here are some tips and tricks we learned to hopefully help you get started. When we first started, we printed our shipping labels using a regular printer because our order volume was very low. We got label bags from Canada Post for free, which made it easy to stick the printed labels onto the poly mailers. This process took a lot longer than using a thermal label printer, but at the time, a thermal printer wasn't the most cost-effective option for us. As we grew, we later found out that you can actually order free 4x6 shipping labels for your thermal printer through UPS and USPS. This helped tremendously in terms of cost, and then we decided to switch to a thermal label printer once we had more volume. Next up is that we also started printing our own thank you cards. We use 90-pound cardstock and print 6 thank you cards on them. We personally found that this thickness works the best for us, and we print a thank you card on one side and then a care guide on the back. If we get it printed, for example, on Vistaprint, it costs around 30 cents to 50 cents per sheet, but it is only around 1 cent per sheet when we print it ourselves, which is a lot of money saved in the long run. Here are some mistakes that we made, and hopefully you learn from this and don't make the same mistakes as us. One mistake we often made in the beginning was putting the wrong label on packages. You have to make sure that you are paying attention when packing orders, especially if you have a lot, because it can get very confusing. We've also had issues with missing unit numbers. Sometimes customers forget their unit number if they are living in an apartment, and items get returned to us. Not all customers understand this and might think that it's our responsibility. Chitchats and Stallion Express can flag incorrect addresses, but it's also essential to state that in your policies that customers are responsible for providing accurate information and that reshipment costs are extra, because sometimes they might not understand that if you don't have it in your policies. Canada Post and USPS also have a verified address system where you can type in the address to see if it actually exists, which can also help avoid these issues if you're unsure. Another lesson was about packaging. Ensure you use enough protection like packing peanuts, tissue paper, and cellophane bags to prevent damage. We started putting stickers on tightly packaged items after noticing that customers are cutting into their parcels with knives, which slices through the garment when they're opening it. Taking these preventative measures help ensure that your products arrive safely and keep customers happy. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video helped you feel a little more ready to ship your first parcel. Bye!